bring it back to the main topic of like the LTA and like I know we went to the format and then went to the teams, but like I do want to get your guys' opinion because we talk about it quite often. What does the LTA need to do to make it feel like last year in summer, where everyone was positive? Even I will dominate the like negative guy for League of Legends is like, man, LCS feels so nice. It feels so much better than LEC to the point that he stopped doing LEC. He's like, I'm done with LEC. Why would I do it? How did we get from here to there, and like, what do we do to go back there? Because it's getting desperate.
I'll let you go first.
You're giving me.
Well, I've taken the lead on most of them from there. I figured I'd be nice.
This is a tough one. Trying to fix a sinking ship. You're telling me to patch a bunch of holes, but
I mean, pick one hole at least. Like,
I know
what's something you see.
I think what really happened for Dom and like I would say all the co-streamers is it's easier to be happy about something when it's starting to turn around. Because this is something I was talking about with Khan the other day, and we were talking about how there was a moment where it felt like LCS had bottomed last year, and it was like in 2023 it would have bottomed, and where we were in 2024 we're starting to come back up in a way, which maybe it's fake numbers from moving back to weekends when we were weekdays. But more than anything, it did feel like we were actually coming out of the pit. And then you go to this year, and when viewership drops, you know, in a way, money does drop for the stream, and they're getting less out of doing it. And so now they have to do other leagues, because if they want to keep the same revenue stream, then they kind of gotta start doing more content hours, and they can't cut out the things they want to and act like, oh, everything's great in LTA/LCS again because all the viewership is back. And now you have guys like Doublelift who's co-streaming and getting what, like 3,000? I don't even know. I think sometimes I barely see him cracking that. And it's like, it's hard to be like positive about something that used to be just an endless money. And now it's just this like thing that you're like, oh man, now I got to figure out what I want to do and what I can cover, I guess, as a co-streamer. So I don't really have a fix for that though. Like how you just magically get the viewership back. I mean, one of the easy ways, you know, chuck the name back to LCS that everyone knows, because Dave has like seen that tagging it in your content at least brings a higher viewership base and people know to look it up. But I don't know if going back to that name really saves LTA from the position it's at.
No, it doesn't. I always get weary of saying this because I don't know how Riot's gonna like take it, especially since we're all like press and, you know, involved in like those circles. But when the weekday change happened, it felt like there was this, okay, we fucked up. We can get it back to this point and stabilize and go from there and grow. And like, that was my big push back then, was like, okay, get us back on weekends. We'll get that viewership number up and we'll try and go from there. And that's exactly what happened. And I was looking at the viewership numbers the other day, and the fall off between spring and summer of 2024, after we brought it back to weekends, was just as severe as the fall off between spring and summer during weekdays. Because during weekdays, like the initial bit of it, I remember people being like, oh, you know, it's actually not that bad. Viewership hasn't dropped all that much. And it quickly like plummeted from there. So you build that excitement back up, but clearly people don't buy the product. Like, that's just the truth of the matter, is that they got hyped again. They tuned in, they saw what it was, and were like, nope, sorry, nope, not going to happen. So then you change the branding, you change everything else. It's impossible to isolate how much of that is, how much of the viewership drop between last summer and this winter is attributed to that. But normally, you know, it's a curve. Like, it's still going down, but it goes down and then up and then down and then up, and like it goes around. For the last now 5 splits, since we're in 3, it's gone straight down. There's been no bounce back. There's been nothing. And I don't think changing back to LCS provides that excitement or spark, because you've taken it away once already, so people have lost trust. Like, just because you bring it back, people don't have faith that it's going to stay. It's like you cheat on somebody once, you know, you might forgive them, but in the back of your mind, you're always going to be worried that they're going to cheat again. And it doesn't fully go away even if the trust is back. I think it's doomed. I legitimately believe North America's domestic league, as it stands now, I don't see a way that viewership recovers. I think it bottoms out at most around like 60,000. I think that's like the lowest that we get. And it'll just remain consistent. And what Riot wants to do from there, they can. But I don't have faith in management with the decisions that have been made over the last year between John Needham at the top, who I believe forced through the LTA branding and the merger and all that. Chris, Mark, Carlos, Raul, all of them, I have zero faith. They've continuously made choices over the last 2 years that have been against the best interest of the product as a whole. Like the North American specific product as a whole. They've lost my faith. And because of that, I think I know they lost the faith of the general public, but once you lose the faith of people like us that are kind of the communicators of things, like it only gets worse. So I don't know where it goes from here. Like my theory has been like I'm prepping to rebuild from the ashes whatever comes from this. Like that's my thought behind it and my angle and approach. But they could change the name. They could change everything back. You could make it full promotion relegation. But I don't think it's going to happen. And that's not saying it's all on Riot either. That's on the players too. If the players started right now, everybody started streaming, started actually embracing social media, maybe I'd have a little bit more faith that we could do this even without Riot's best interest in heart. Because that's been Call of Duty's motto for 10 years now is fuck Activision. We're still doing it on our own. But like nobody has that fight and fire here in North America. Like nobody has it. So we can't do that. So I wish I had a better answer for you, but I think it's legitimately like on the verge of imploding, and whatever Riot does from there, they do.
You want to go first, Marn, or should I go?
I'll let you go because I had like an idea I wanted to bring across.
All right. With regard to leadership, I will not speak on Carlos. If I speak, I will be in trouble, so I'm not going to say anything. But I do agree that it most likely came from him, not John Needham. Obviously, they work in tandem, but it did seem like it was something that he wanted to push through. Just from what I heard from the Brazilian side of things. Speaking of like, do I think it's doomed and how do we fix it? I want to actually just look at 2024 and why the sentiment was so high in summer. The content pieces that were coming out were great. Like, even though we got rid of catching up to Double Lift, there was a lot of really cool segments. The broadcast was actually entertaining. This year, the broadcast has honestly been, I don't want to say insufferable, but it's been a clear level down. The amount of casters that we have, why are analysts casting? Like, it's actually annoying when you have professional casters and all of it. Yes, because of the money. Yeah, the budget. But like it's actively, it's not that I don't want Raz or Jat or Emily to stream. I thought this weekend was Emily's best cast in her entire career. And like that's saying a lot. She's improving. Like kudos to her. But why is Azale play-by-play and color caster? Why is Emily the on the desk and interview players and doing that? Like, can we just get people that are experts in the field to do it and not have everybody wear 10 different hats and juggle 5 different balls? The broadcast has felt worse. The amount of like talk that LCS used to have to us, the amount of like openness with, even though it was like fake openness, it was something. With like Mark having multiple different streams, talking to the fans and answering live questions. He doesn't even talk about it. He doesn't write anything. He doesn't do anything. Because guess what? There's nothing good for them to like. I'm assuming a lot of these decisions are above his head. And like, what is he going to go defend what some other person did that's clearly like, hey, we don't care about the LCS. We care more about VCT. So we're shoving you into a closet. Like, there's the sentiment around the league is worse. The product is worse. And I've been arguing for the past like 2 years that the product is great, especially like in 2024 summer. The product is great. y'all just suck at marketing it. Like, who cares that you have a really awesome product if no one's watching, if no one knows that it's on, if no one knows why it's awesome? Can you guys get on social media? And guess what? They hired a new like CMO, chief marketing officer, or an equivalent of that. Like Chris Gilly told me this, and he's been killing it with like pros. I don't know if it was like specifically him or like he found the budget for it or whatever it is, but like with pros, with actually getting on TikTok and shorts and like starting to do things like the segment they had after Jensen got kicked and went to Dignitas. They had Jensen versus Inspired, like just like a one-on-one trash talk session for like an hour. That was so much fun. They were actively trying to market the league as like something engaging and like constantly competitive and like fights. Almost like I don't want to say like MMA style, but like it was entertaining. And the step back that they took from that to whatever they're doing, the product sucks, the marketing sucks. Like, even if I argue, hey, market better, like, what are you marketing? I don't know the answer to that. I can't market it because I don't know what the hell is going on. I can't even tell you how Cloud9 got first until like they got first. So it does feel like it's a sinking ship. I think the way to fix it is like just figure out what your bottom is and stabilize that bottom. Stop changing, figuring out whatever sucky format you have, just keep it so that at the very least we can do something to like, even if it's putting lipstick on a pig, like at least let us do something. Let the teams market something. Let the league market something. But you need to stop with all of this like Mickey Mousing. You just need to stop throwing changes at the wall because you're all incompetent. No one gets fired for the bad ideas, so they just do more bad ideas.
That feeling that. I will also say, you saying that just made me realize how big of a difference Mark not being around to work on content is. When he's not leading, like a lot of the content things that like made it great from in like 2023 going into 2024 is they were like trying to like overcome and fix some of these things. I'm pretty sure they were directives from him, because like the supplemental content from Riot this year has like been, it's just not there. And like I don't want to be mean to the on-air talent at all, because like I know they have things that they're doing, but like where's like JLXP? Where's Jat supplemental stuff? Like Emily, I know Emily still does. Yeah. I think she does the thing with Kelsey, or they do. No. Okay, so they stopped. Raz and Flowers, Flowers I will never criticize. He's a GOAT caster. He provides enough value as is. Raz, like I know does some TikTok content, but like where's the supplemental stuff to help market and push us besides that? Mm-hmm. It's not there. And like, is it fair? Like, you're already putting in those hours on broadcast? Maybe not. No, maybe you don't see that as fair. But I think that's where we're at. That we need you to be doing those things. We need you to be a face of the league. And I don't feel like anybody standards that you have to do.
I think, at least on the casting side, not preparing for Freak's retirement and bringing in like the next caster and then bring in Zale just because it solves your money problem where you don't have to fork out for another big caster was one of the biggest slaps in the face that Freak you could give. Because when he was like, at the time, like the LCS had the two, in my opinion, best casters in esports in Freak, and I know Freak's controversial to some. I feel the way him and Flowers present games, I don't see another commentator that matches them personally. And preparing, like, not even preparing, but just bringing in Azale, who I think Azale does a great job. But if I can assume to ask him, is that what you wanted to do? I don't know if that's what he wanted to do. Like, it feels like a money pinching thing. Everything just feels like the dive's the worst it's ever been. I'd bin it tomorrow if I could. Pros, I don't enjoy because they just have a revolving door of like the analysts doing it. It feels like like when we was in school, like a supply teacher coming in last second that's like not even in the like remotely the same subject. They're just coming in, picking up a piece of paper, and like, okay, let's work with this. There's nothing. Okay, and this is the most damning thing I can say. There's nothing enjoyable about North American League of Legends. And I'm supporting a team that's like second. Like the players don't care. Like the players don't care. The teams don't really care about content too much, even though they will say they do. From a management side, you're trying to combine your viewership with Brazil, and then saying, "Oh, look, everything's great, guys." The studio is dead.
Brazil is thriving.
I actually think I would love to see the percentage if we were in the main arena versus the side studio this season, because I actually think that number's closer than you think.
Oh,
Like,
the
what do
whole
you mean
year?
percentage?
Like what percentage are we was in the main arena with the full crowd versus the side studio? Like if that was like a 50-50 split.
It's very close to 50-50.
I think it's like 60-40 because this split we were in the studio only 1 week, and the other 2 weeks we were in the closet. So
Yeah,
and then
but
split
Valorant
one,
ends early, so it will skew our way towards the end. Like that's always been the
Yeah.
case with summers. Like we take the hits early on and have consecutive weeks, but then once they're done, then we take over. Which actually, let me look up the VCT schedule, so I'm not speaking out of my ass.
Yeah, split one, it was 4 weeks out, 2 weeks in the closet. Split two, I don't remember. Split three, it's 1 and 2. So it's pretty close. It's like a 60.
And with split one, like half of it we went to Brazil. So you didn't
That's the
even
reason
get
it
to
wasn't in the studio. Yeah, the 2 weeks that we were there. Yeah. Sorry, it was
Mm.
3-2 because it was 5 weeks. Yeah, 3-2 and then 1-2 now. So
I'm finding it very difficult to find something I like truly enjoy outside of the games themselves. I still enjoy it as a fan. Like I still really enjoy it. I do think these teams are quite good. I just wish they would stream more. I wish teams would put, because I think C9 does it, and they won't tell me. But I think they've put streaming contracts in the, or they put like streaming stuff in their contracts, because there's like these players are streaming a lot more than I thought they would be, and I think every team should be doing that.
here's a really good point, actually. Like, how is watching FlyQuest going toe to toe with some of the best teams in the world not interesting? Well, we don't even get to see them play against the top teams in North America, like because of our format. It would be very different. To your point about pros, the reason it sucks or it's not as good as it was is because there's no good matchup to talk about. What is Kangas gonna say when he was like, "What do you guys think between FlyQuest and DSG?" It's like, I know you all are gonna give FlyQuest a 2-0, but like, what's the angle? And the angle is like, pray that Inspire turns off a screen and Masu has a stroke. Like, what are the pros supposed to talk about when the league doesn't give them anything to talk about? Like, I don't blame them for things being a little bit more bland. And I thought it was really cool of them to bring Palfox and be like, hey, you criticized us. We want to give you an avenue to like tell us what happened, and like we'll apologize, or like we'll try to explain and like figure out how we don't cause that to happen. He was like, yeah, I just think some casters don't know anything about the game. And I mean, he's not, a lot of pro players think that, but at the end of the day, it was like really cool that they let him do that and not fine him, because how dare you say that about our product, which I would have expected him to do. So,
But then you don't have the casters that will clap back on broadcast. It's almost like it never happened.
Or on social media, for the most part. Like
I would have
none
liked
of them,
Gazelle to say something.
none of them tweeted out about it, which is wild to me. Like,
They get too much hate. Like, if you see Azale, anytime he tries to speak out, he gets completely shit on. He's like, dude, I'm not gonna talk anymore. I think earlier this year he was like, I'm just not gonna like talk. Whenever I try to like explain anything, you guys just like are full of hate, which I understand, but it comes with the job.
Yeah, I was gonna say you kind
I
of gotta
gotta
have
agree
a
with him.
guy who's like a Stephen A. or
Yeah.
Pat. Like you gotta have somebody who's willing to eat the blows.
I will dominate. He
Keep
he will fight every single fight. He gets rage baited very
He
easily.
will.
He fights it.
That's just the problem with I Will Dominate, though. He's kind of, I guess he is Stephen A. in that sense. Like I guess you do need just a Pat McAfee, because Stephen A. like eventually gets old to people, because they're like, man, this dude's just mad at everything, bruh. And I Will Dominate's one.
Could have been
I
Raz.
just quit listening.
Raz literally
True.
told me that he watches Stephen A. Smith because he wants to be the League of Legends Stephen A. Smith. Like, he wants to learn from him.
Interesting.
And like, where did that go?
he doesn't have that seriousness to him. That's the problem. Is like he's got some of the jokes, but like when he needs to be serious, which Stephen A. Smith is more serious than he is joking. I feel it's the inverse with Raz. I love him, but he doesn't have like that. Like, I don't see him just getting into arguments with people for the sake of getting into arguments out of pure passion for wanting to do it. It's like that
They
doesn't
never
happen
argue
as much.
on broadcast. They never take separate positions. And I understand, yes, because everybody thinks FlyQuest is better. But even when they're like, oh, I think Cloud9 is going to beat FlyQuest, there's never a debate of like, well, I actually think Blabber, if you look at the last few picks that he's been doing, he actually plays really well around the bot lane. And that's why I think they're like, that just never happens anymore. It's always yes and. This isn't theater. This isn't improv, guys. Like,
bro, that's why I had such I mean, we're in a safe space now with all of us. I can vent about this a little bit. That's why the Azael stuff pissed me off with the 100 Thieves shit back in Split 1. Split 1 with finals. And I get pastry time coming in and like little broing, and like everybody for the most part took the side of Azael. Was like, I'm sorry, like, is it not okay for me to like have a dissenting opinion on that front? Like, I don't think you've given 100 Thieves the respect that we deserve. Now, granted, he got proven right. Obviously, we got our ass kicked heavily. Mm-hmm. But like, why is it such a big problem for me to take issue with the fact that feeling like you're not giving 100 Thieves enough credit and voicing that, and like me voicing that is problematic, like, to you? I'm glad I'll say it to your fucking face rather than just third party passive, one-off pot shots. But then all of a sudden, like, I do that. And like, fine, people want to come in the replies, fine. But like, it's no longer about like the conversation at hand. It's about how dare you fucking say this. It's like, Jesus Christ, God knows we've been fucking dealing with this for years, but y'all don't want to acknowledge it on the Riot side that you're fucking biased as shit towards certain teams. You are. Like, and I don't, they won't say it, but the community knows it, that like, if you weren't like one of the big dogs or one of the talking points, you never got the same fucking coverage. Doesn't matter how good you were, you never got the same coverage. 100 Thieves during 2021 and 2022 during those stretches did not get the same talking time as other teams did. At all. And we were pissed about it. We were so annoyed. Even Papa Smithy, granted he was with the Orc, so he's going to be biased, comes out and was like, yeah, we had nobody that was like willing to like try and fight for those opinions and like have it on there. Like, I'm sorry. It is what it is. And I don't like, I know you've talked about this, Martin. I don't like having fucking medios on the dive either.
Mm-hmm. It doesn't flow well. It does not.
Do not have a representative of an org on that at all.
Because I don't want to hear, oh yeah, I just think CNN are better. Tell us, tell us why. If you're gonna say that, tell us why. Not, I don't know, paid by Jack. Like, I don't know. I only watch it. I only watch the dive just to hear the little segment they do on C9, and then like I call it there. I tend not to watch like the full segments now of pros or the dive. I don't care enough.
When was the last time you guys saw a genuine debate? Like a genuine debate on broadcast?
Why don't we just do that? Just have a segment with like Emily versus Raz where they're just like talking about who they think is gonna win, and like even if you think you're on the wrong side, you think FlyQuest is better, like make a genuine argument. That's how debate works. You don't always fight the argument that you know is right. But yeah, you're right. When have you? Has anyone like noticed it recently?
No, I haven't seen shit.
No. I mean, it is a little bit of what Dave and I talked about as a lot like you guys were saying earlier, and mainly you, Cloud, was the consistency that we need. Like, Dave and I were talking about how if you're going to remove 100 views right now, it would make sense to us that Riot should just also take Dig out. And then when we restart this, lock all your teams in and talk to them and say, we're locking you in. Like, we want you here for the next 5 years. We want to keep this consistent because from here we got to rebuild. But this is our bottom, or what we believe to be the bottom. And this is where we'll turn around. And honestly, you may have to also look at like casting and be like, okay, we've had people who've been here through the highs and the lows, the full build and all that. And at some point, people do burn out, or just their ability to entertain runs out. At some point, people just get tired of something. And you do have to consider, like, and I know that this is talking about their jobs, so it's a little awkward, but it's like at some point, somebody has to be the one that you can point the finger at. And we know John Needham's not going away, so I don't really know what you do there.
He just got promoted, so yeah.
Yeah, I can say whatever I want about any of these. I know none of you can, but I can be like, this guy should be fired. He should be fired. He should be fired. But some point they gotta look at it and be like, okay, the crowd has seen this guy, this guy, and this guy for like 5 years now, 6 years. They're always beefing with this guy. The beef never turns into actual PR to grow the game, or it doesn't keep fans like in tune with the game. At what point do we just kind of push this one out? Like Jat making golf content at this point, it's just not working. I know Dave loves golf.
No,
But, like-
I hated that video though.
I know. But Jat's ideas, like I love Jat from the days of, and I remember him fondly. So it's hard. Maybe it's time for him to go. But it is one of those things where it's like, you've been here a very long time, and maybe it is just time to like, let's pick the new thing and then stick with it and see where we go. Because at worst, we're just gonna die like we are, and at best, we're gonna grow.
I don't think Jack gets the respect he deserves as a caster. Like, this guy is
I know,
like a
yeah.
Agreed. Oh,
multi-time like world's finalist caster on the front. He was defending League of Legends on ESPN like back in the day,
Yeah.
and this guy gets demoted to a lounge role.
Yeah.
Fuck off. I will say
I
that,
think
like,
it's because he fucking took the coaching jobs. Has to be.
Yeah.
Like, has to be.
and the development job he did.
Yeah.
Yeah, but at this point, when I look at him, I'm like, is anybody watching LTA for Jet? Like,
No,
No.
absolutely
people-
not.
I know it's
But what
very hard
I
to
would-
gauge what he brings, but it's like,
I think it's more like if old. Like, the thing is, he's a recognizable voice, and when he's on the
Yeah.
like one series within like 7, people are gonna
Mhm.
say like, "Where is like Riv? Where's Jet?" Like, obviously,
yeah,
there's the way. If there was the very first thing I would do for 2026 is I would start the show. It's like fades in black. There's like a hooded figure walks through the venue. I think you will kind of get an idea of who I'm like walks through like the backstage,
yeah,
like pulls the hood off when he's in the crowd and it's Dash, and he just goes like hype. I would go and get a host.
They won't let Dash back.
No.
I tried talking to
I
him
mean-
about it, and he was like, "Why? Like, even if they told me to come back after what they did, like, why would I keep relying on them after I did so much for them, and then they
Yeah.
stabbed me?" in the
It was
back?
the biggest criminal
Yeah.
like offense that they could have done was removing him, and
yeah, that is true.
Here's what I would do personally. I would have the set casting, I'd have 2 casting groups of Flowers and Kangas are your play-by-play. I think Kangas is killing it in play-by-play, by the way.
Yeah.
Like, for all, like, I know a lot of people like voice concerns about Rafa. I don't see many people voicing praise enough to what Kangas is doing on cast. He's absolutely killing it. His vocal inflections are phenomenal. 2 of them are permanent casters, right? And they're just going to keep rotating off. Analysts, or not analysts, color commentators, I would have Jat, Azael, Kobe. Am I missing anybody that has to be there?
no, that's like. Well,
Oh,
No,
sorry,
Flowers.
yeah.
They're
yeah, understood.
casters.
Mhm.
3 color commentary that can rotate off, and then you do a tri-cast when needed because you have
big games. everything,
multiple
yeah.
different combinations. Fine, and then your desk is set. And I think your desk is somebody hosting that is not one of the color commentators. They shouldn't. The people doing that there should not be on the desk. Whoever you want to host. I will dominate Emily, Rand, and maybe one other person. Maybe Raz. But Dom
Yeah.
needs to be on the broadcast. Assuming he wants to. If he wants to be with the team, fine. But I would max out what you can possibly give him to get him on broadcast.
I think weekly you need to have someone of value on in traditional sports, like they'll have like the old player, like an old retired player, be on broadcast every single week. They need to do that for LTA. I think something, and this is just like a pipe dream. I wish they would do testimonial matches for retired players. So once you retire, in the Premier League, once you reach 10 years with a club, you will then have a testimonial match where you will play with your old team of when, let's just say, if he was in Doubler, for example, he could say, hey, I want to play with the 2016 TSM roster. So then they would have a match against another team of legends. That just brings like instant like, oh cool, we get to see like Bjergsen, Double Lift, all these old players in the LTA arena. I may have never get to see Bjergsen play a game on stage in League of Legends, so I'm gonna go to that.
This might also be a controversial opinion. Don't know. I think League has swung too informal. I think that the lounge I would like to see go back to like the Sports Center style. I enjoyed watching that more. I enjoyed that style of it way more than I enjoy the lounge and the casual side of it now.
I agree. It has really felt like they're not doing much. I will talk about just because we're talking about like casters. Basically what I'll say is they had some really good casters. They had casters that were casting LPL finals in NA that wanted to do LCS. They were doing NACL as well, and they were like, "Yo, get me in, coach." And they were like, "Nah, let Azael do play-by-play as well." They had some of the best casters in the world ready to cast, and they were like, "Well, we don't." They said no. And I just like, I don't know what you do when you're just having your talent doing so many different things. And like, your idea is great. Imagine if they had a segment. Imagine if they were a little bit more formal. Imagine if they did like really cool things that we know they could do because they used to do it. But it just seems like whoever's running the broadcast doesn't want that. Like, we've been moving away from it, so I don't know.
I think you got to view the broadcast and the product in general more like Broadway than anything else. Where it's like, if it gets to a point where it doesn't feel like you're driving value or ticket sales, then if there's an alternative that we can go with, we will go with it. Like that's my...
What do you mean by that?
What I mean is, say like the main broadcast is like losing losing numbers, and there's just nobody's tuning in to the segments. You can't get them to work, whatever it might be. Dom will keep being my example for it. Like, people want to watch Dom. Like, and he can be very analytical with things. Put him on the desk. More people, like, here's my question to you. If anybody that was on broadcast went to try and co-stream right now, how many people do you think they'd have watching their stream?
A lot.
How many did Dash have?
Oh, yeah.
No, they would not have a lot. They would have a couple hundred at most. At most.
Yeah. That's where Dash
Nobody
is
has
now.
built themselves up as a personality.
What is Dom getting on his co-streams?
5,000, 6,000
His
average.
videos get way more.
Exactly.
It's like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
His YouTube channel is amazing.
Because I was gonna say, I'm not sure how many people are like tuning in to live I Will Dominate. Is he really gonna save it?
No, he's not gonna save it. But he's
Internationals,
gonna
he gets a
change.
lot.
He will change the energy.
Ah, okay.
You can feel when people want to tune in for something, and like people right now are like for a personality specifically, and like you need personalities on your broadcast. You do.
Yeah.
Like, the reason why all these people got hired, like the reason why Jat and Kobe and Azael and like so many of these like former players turned broadcast personalities were there was because people wanted to see those personalities on broadcast. But you have to keep cycling through. And we haven't had any of like the recent pro. I mean, obviously, because the recent pros haven't done anything to build up their social media and their on-air personalities besides, the players that are still playing, like Bwipo and Sven, the second they retire, contract immediately. Have them ready. But like, who's building their brand? Still, like, who's actively doing it? Shock's post the most out of everybody.
It's also hard to like gauge if this style is working. Like, the rotating casters a lot is because their co-streamers are carrying so much over there for their like main broadcast. Like, their main broadcast, honestly, that product would still have crazy viewership because just the co-streamers need to be streaming. All they need is a guy moving the spectator, for being real, and they could all be doing it. But for like LTA, we just don't have that. So I guess you just have to pull them all in and hire them so that you can keep doing what we always do and try to fluff the numbers a bit in weird ways. be like, oh look, our main broadcast is now hit 68,000 instead of 63 because I Will Dominate is on our podcast.
I mean,
So
that's
now
a
the number's
non-negligible
even higher.
bump.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's almost
like
10%.
That's large.
Yeah, that's like
No, I was gonna say it's
that's
large for these
massive.
days. So we
That's
can
like,
go.
do you remember the
"Ah, see,
3%
we've done it."
that
Yeah.
Mark Z was like,
Yeah.
we grew 3%. This is monumental.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
the best part is you have that co-streaming setup thing on the side. You can
Yep.
have them be on the desk and then let them go co-stream during the game.
Yeah.
And then they just walk right by. Now, granted, it's not like it's going to be harder to prepare segments, but good. Let it be more off the rip and off the cuff. Like, let that
Hold
happen.
up, we can't do that. And
They can literally like just
Be more
pan to
sports-centered.
like say Dom is in Dom is in like a costume area. You could just give it a name. I don't know what name it would be, but like something hub or whatever, like the LTA hub, and like Dom's just sitting there with a player, and then they're just doing like an off the riff interview, and like I think they're the best things when they're not scripted, and you have no idea what they're gonna say, and that's sometimes the best content. I remember like one of my favorite ever content pieces, not even content, but like, do you remember when they had C9 once on the post game lobby, and they let C9 take over, and it was just Sven and Thanatos and Blabber talking?
Yeah.
That was hilarious.
Loved it.
Or when they had
Yeah.
Sven, when he wasn't playing, he was in 2024. He actually hosted pros one time. Like maybe we could have gotten Dokla to do that. Or,
That-
I don't know.
But
maybe
do you
Dokla's not
see?
great.
Do you see my? I don't know if Dokla would have done well in that situation, but do you see
Yeah.
what I mean? Of like, it immediately changes the vibe,
Yeah.
and it feels more
Mhm.
energetic. It feels fresh. It feels like that's what you need. And I don't think the products had that feeling for a bit now.
Like when you see Sven's face, you know exactly what you're getting. You can't do that with like 95% of the players in the league. I actually had a funny thought. This is why I don't think Jon would ever come to C9, because there's too much content that you'd have to do, and there's too much tweeting you'd have to do in streaming, and he's not a player that actively wants to do it. He's showcased that. Like, I think it's had like 10 tweets in his entire career, and he's won multiple LCS championships and gone to Worlds. And played against T1 and done well in these like international games.